Hi guys, and welcome to Magic. My name is Thomas Hansen and I'm one of the magicians over at aista.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create an HTTP web API wrapping your database using nothing but SQL. Now this video tutorial assumes you've already done previous video tutorials about how to set up Magic and how to credify your backend, your Sakila database specifically. If you have followed those tutorials, you can click the SQL menu item here, which will bring you into an SQL editor. Then you can choose your Sakila database here. And if you haven't executed the Sakila script to create your Sakila database, you can load the script here, choose Sakila here, click execute for them to purge your server-side cache, which will make this database available for you to select. So anyways, select the Sakila database and then let's type some SQL. Select all from, and now I can hold down function control and click space, at which point I'm given autocomplete on my SQL database table. So I'm going to choose the first one, actor, then I'm going to alias it as A, and then I'm going to do an inner join. Then I'm going to be joining on actor underscore, and let's see what his name is, film underscore actor, aliased as FA on A dot, and then I can do autocomplete to find actor ID equal FA dot, then I can do actor ID, then I can do another inner join, and then I want to join towards the film database table, F on F dot, film ID equal FA dot, film ID. And at this point now, I want to change my asterisks here and instead select some specific columns. I want to select A dot, function control space on Windows, first name, comma, F dot, title, comma, F dot, description. And I now have two inner joins recursively applied that selects first name, title and description from the actor table and the film table, basically giving me a collection of every single film that every single actor has been included in. Goes through, of course, the film actor link table, which is just a simple link table. Now I want to take this SQL and I want to copy, and I want to go back to my desktop, at which point I can now go to, for instance, the CRUD menu item or Hyper ID. You can choose both. I'm going to be using the CRUD menu item for this particular tutorial. Then I'm going to click the SQL tab here at the top center parts here. At this point, I can select my database, Sakila, obviously, and I can provide an HTTP verb for my SQL web API endpoint. Can provide a primary URL and I can provide a secondary URL. I can type, let's say, Sakila dash film actors. Okay, then I can provide authorization requirements required to invoke this particular endpoint, and then I can paste in this SQL. And at this point I can, if I want to, I can apply where. Then I can do A dot, first name like, and now I'm going to be referencing an argument which this particular endpoint is going to require in order to invoke it, that I still haven't actually created. Let's call this endpoint @filter. And then let's do an or, A dot, or actually F dot title like @filter, or F dot description like @filter. Now for the record, this YouTube video tutorial is accompanied by an article which you can find a link to in the description of the YouTube video, leading to the article where you can copy and paste this particular code if you don't want to pause the video and manually write it off the way I have written it on my screen now. Now we are going to have to add our argument. So click the plus here, type filter, and then choose type string, and then choose add. And at this point we're actually done. Click generate and ta-da, you now have an SQL HTTP web API endpoint that you can immediately invoke. And at this point we can open up another browser window, go to localhost, colon 5555, And then we can choose our endpoints, and then if we remember what the name of our endpoint was, let's see, Sakila, film, actors, we can actually immediately invoke the endpoint here. Now if we type in the character A, %, for instance, we click add and we invoke it, we are only going to get results where either the first name or the title or the description starts out with the character A. As you can see here, Academy Dinosaur starts out with A, and A Epic Drama of a Feminist starts out with A. If we change our filter to becoming B %, then we will only get results where the title, description, or first name starts out with the character B. Here you can see the title starts out with Boulevard of Commands. If we change it to set, for instance, we're probably going to get 0 results. Well, actually, there are some 0 first name characters, but if we do sets QW, we're probably not going to get a result back. So, let's have a look at the code that Magic automatically produces for us. Because yet again, just like in the previous tutorials we did, Magic actually creates code for us, a lot of code, and we can now actually edit this code. So let's go back to our desktop, and then let's choose HyperID, and then let's open up modules, Sakila, and then let's find our HTTP endpoint thing, which should probably be down here. Sakila-film-actors.get. Let's maximize it by holding down Option and clicking M, or holding down Alt and clicking M on Windows. At which point you can actually see the hyperlambda code that Magic generated for us. 36 lines of code, and it basically invokes the data.select slot. Now, of course, at this point we probably might benefit from making things slightly more better indented. So let's do that. And as you can see here, our SQL that we pasted into the SQL CRUD generator part is actually referenced inside of our data.select slot invocation here. And then it actually takes the arguments that it is assumed that it is being given. And actually at this point we can do validators, function control space, validators dot mandatory, do colon x colon at dot arguments asterisk and filter. What this does, it basically ensures that the filter argument is specified or throws an exception. And the reasons why we want to have a mandatory validator for this particular argument is because unless the argument is given, our SQL will actually fail. Now you can hold down Option and click S to save your file, or Alt S on Windows, and saving your file. And if we now try to actually invoke the endpoints using a different browser tab, and we don't specify the we don't specify a filter argument, you will see that it actually returns mandatory argument filter not given with a field with the value of filter, actually allowing us to semantically from our front end actually dissect which particular field was not supplied. So, and if we are returning single items, as in scalar items, we can do exchange select with data.scalar, and we can set this one to false, right, at which point the endpoint will assume that only a single value is actually returned back to the client. That wouldn't really make any sense for this particular SQL, so let's just undo it, back to where we had it, de-maximize it, and that's it basically. You have now created your first web API endpoint using SQL. And let me emphasize a couple of important things here. First of all, when you create your endpoint, you can choose which HTTP verb you want to use. If you use put or post, then what is going to be required from you is that you actually supply JSON payload as you invoke the endpoint. You can change the authorization requirements, you can check off here if you're returning a single scalar value, whether or not you want to overwrite the existing endpoint with the same file name, etc., etc. And of course you can add as many arguments as you wish, and you can also give your arguments different types: dates, bool, int, long, etc. So anyways, that was the tutorial for today. Yet again, there's a link in the description of this YouTube video to where you can download Magic to get started with it, and also to the article accompanying this YouTube tutorial, which will contain the code I used to actually create my web API. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.